40 years later, and the family of David Jensen is still coping with his death at the hands of Thomas Creech. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Riley Shoemaker, and I spoke exclusively with David Jensen's sister, who tells me that this execution will bring them closure after all these years.
I hope that the state of Idaho finally does what needs to be done.
Colette Cohen speaks out about the scheduled execution for Thomas Creech, who was sentenced to death for killing her brother David Jensen in 1981.
He was a kind-hearted, very loving. He loved life. I mean, he did not deserve how his life ended.
Colette Cohen was 19 years old when her older brother David Jensen was incarcerated.
We were best buddies.
While he was serving time in the maximum security prison, he was beaten to death by Thomas Creech.
My brother David was the most vulnerable victim he could find.
Colette says her brother wasn't a typical 21-year-old. Jensen suffered from brain damage after a gun injury to the head.
He had the mentality of about a 12-year-old. And he didn't really understand anything.
David spent time in a mental health facility, but his family says he slipped through the cracks and ultimately got arrested for stealing a car to visit Colette.
I went to the judge that convicted him and sent him to prison. And I said, "What are you doing?" To this day, why?
And more than 40 years after her brother was killed, I watched last month as Colette and other family members were able to speak out for the first time during Creech's commutation hearing. Ultimately, Creech's clemency was denied, and he was scheduled to be put to death.
It's given me some closure, yes. The fact that if Creech will actually be executed on time after all these years, that will give me closure. But it'll never change the fact that I'll never have my brother back.
Colette had the opportunity to be present at the execution and wishes she could be a witness, but due to travel limitations, she will not be present. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Riley Shoemaker, for Idaho News 6.